I'm not like against CG, you know, and there's the rubber guys and the CG guys, and I find it an amazing tool when it's used right and it's in the hands of creative people. And the fact that you can do things that we can't do with rubber, you know. But it's not the answer for everything. And when there are things that this should have been a makeup show, but they did it CG because...
Good example is the latest Beauty and the Beast, yes? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Or is that, am I crossing
No, it's a perfect example.
And it was. Dave and Lou Elsey made an amazing Beast makeup.
Which the digital design is completely based off of.
Yeah, but not as good.
No.
And they kind of screwed it up some. And the funny thing is, you know, I thought the design worked really well as a makeup. I didn't think it worked as well as a digital thing. First of all, they didn't.
Because you could have pushed it further.
Yeah, if you're going to do digitally, then
do it for a reason.
Don't use that makeup design.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
But it was a producer's mission to not have this be a makeup show, and they went out of their way to make sure that Dave and Lou would. Yeah, no, it was. And they went out of their way to make sure that they would fail, and they didn't fail. You know, they made this really cool suit. They did a shot of the ballroom with a dancer, and people were in tears, and then they fired him. You know, and so we're going to do it CG.
You would think they would take the more economical approach, at least start with that.
Well, you know, part of it is, you know, I had hoped that it would calm down after the initial, you know, when the CG stuff first started taking off, and then when we all of a sudden became dinosaurs, you know.
It did go in waves.
Oh, yeah.
Like when it first came out, like it was like, that's the end of makeup effects. It's all over. You guys just better figure something else out to do.
What do you think Jurassic Park was that like hit?
Yeah, that was.
It seems like that was one of the big.
Well, or like T2, you know. When
T2 and things like that. It was like, and then it kind of went down again, and then it went up again, and then it came back. It has gone in waves. But now I think, or do you feel it's become obvious that they need to work together and that obviously makeup effects has made a huge resurgence in the past few years.
Well, in television especially, I think, which is good. Yeah, I would have thought by now, you know, I thought, okay, these guys are like showing off at this point, you know, and especially like in the 90s, it's like, you know what, this stuff isn't as good as what we're doing. I'm sorry, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at a 90s CG thing, it's cringe,
awful.
you know.
Yeah.
You look at American Werewolf, I still will cringe at it myself, you know, but there's things that still look pretty good.
But
you know?
it holds up.
Yeah, you know, and what changed after American Werewolf, I mean, because I did so many interviews and people said, what was the new material that allowed you to do this thing that nobody had done before? You know, I said, I had some time and some money. You know, hadn't had that before, you know. And to do this stuff right, it takes time. But a lot of times, the director will be on another project, and you're trying to get answers from them. I need to start making this stuff now.
Yeah.
What do you want? You know, it's like my mind's not on that movie yet. And I totally understand that. I like to think about what I'm working on at the time too, and not what's down the road. So I think that's one thing that they like. You know, they don't have to come up with these answers in the beginning in pre-production. You know, you don't have to wait for the person in the makeup trailer. Or you don't have to do the call.
Turn around.
I think I would be that director. I think I would be like, no, do it CG. I want to think about it later.
Well, they don't have to make that decision until years later.
To give you that option, I understand the mindset. I do.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating as hell.
Right.
Especially in that scenario where you've got a beautiful makeup talking about the Beauty and the Beast that, I didn't even know that they got that far and they had people in tears on set. To see something like that happen and have that emotional response from so many different people and still make that decision, I just don't understand that.
It's just the irony that it's a live action
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast,
Yeah.
except with the cartoon Beast, you know.
Well, and a candlestick and a clock and but those made more sense, didn't they?
Right,
You know, I mean, how
right.
do
At
you
least
don't want to
those
put a
had
guy in a candlestick suit.
candle.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the reasons why I respect, the prosthetic makeup artist side of this so much is that I don't do it very often. It's the thing that I'm the least capable of doing is on-set application. And one of the other things that I was on set for, it was for Modern Family. We did a stroke makeup on Ed O'Neill, and Tom Flouts was applying the makeup, doing a gorgeous job. And I came to set just to check it out and say hello and do your little song and dance. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, it looks great, Tom. You did a great job. Thanks so much. And then they broke for lunch, and I was like, oh, I'll stay for lunch. Get free lunch out of this. Sat down, ate. It's barbecue, and Tom Flouts looked very upset. And I was like, oh, why are you upset? And he's like, well, because look over there. And I look over and Ed has just got a big rib and he's just gnawing on this thing. And his bottom of his prosthetic is just dangling. And there's just barbecue sauce kind of coming out of it. I'm like,
sure.
Oh my God, what are you gonna do? And just calm as can be. He's just like, man, we'll fix it afterwards. like, should I go talk to somebody? Should I do something? And I'm up in arms. I'm, freaked out about this. And he goes to the trailer and he's waiting for Tom. Tom gets in there and he, takes this thing off and his hair dryer and taking, barbecue sauce off and wiping it. And you got Ed laying back just like, oh, sorry about that. It was delicious. And he's like, yeah. And he glues it back down, colors it, does this whole thing, and it looks amazing. And I was like, I would have walked off set. I would have been like, we're going to have to shoot this tomorrow. I'm going to bring a new piece. Yeah. But the energy, the cool, calm, collective, I don't know if I have that. I don't know if I can do it.
This happens to me at times that we get used to. It's like, oh, it's all ready. They got a master shot, and okay, we're going to break now. And then they're going to do close-ups after lunch or at the end of the day. And when it's, they've been in it for 12 hours.
Oh, they always do that. I mean, I swear there's a book somewhere for directors that say you do the extreme close-up, the very last shot, when the makeup looks the worst.
On Hairspray, John Travolta had to wear the silicone fat makeup for Edna. Of course, it was the same thing. 10 hours later, they're doing these close-ups of him.
Yeah.
And the corners, no matter what, the silicone, it just starts to crumble. And I actually had this thickener that actually thickened KY and added grease paint to it. And I would spatula that for little cracks shot by shot. Yeah, and I've done that with Ultra Ice too. And I went up to the camera guys because I'm like checking the shot. It's like, oh crap.
There was a day on Suicide Squad they wanted to shoot that Croc guy this close. He was in it 14, 15 hours at that point. It was the last shot of the day. And they went, all right, let's get his coverage. And it was that close. And I was like, you're not doing it. You're not doing it. I'm not going to let you do it. You're doing it tomorrow. Because we were coming back to the same set, the same scene the next morning. I was like, why don't we just do it tomorrow morning when it's fresh and it's perfect? And big, giant committee meeting with producers and the studio.
It's like you're trying to sabotage their schedule.
It's like,
how dare you?
I was such a bad guy. Everyone was like, that guy's an asshole. He can't do that. And I'm like, why would you do that? It makes no sense to do that.
They do it all the time.
And the actor came up to me and was like, so should I tell him we could do this or not? And I go, no, tell him absolutely not. Tear the makeup right off your face. And he pulled the thing off his face and was like, okay, you're not getting it today. We're doing it tomorrow morning.
When I did the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, we had so many people in makeup. We were thinking it was going to be a nightmare just keeping track of all this stuff and the after lunch cleanup and everything. And we provided mirrors for every actor. They had to eat in front of a mirror so they could find their mouth, and not get food. And we talked to the caterers about saying no barbecued ribs, no spaghetti and stuff like that, and tried to make it as painless for everybody as possible, But we had a day in Trona when we were filming in the desert. We had tons of makeup trailers and makeup people and apes everywhere and stuff. And as usual, they have you just make everybody up, but you don't necessarily need them for another 12 hours, and we had Helena made up, all the facial hair was all laid, but it was a day where Helena was made up in the morning and sat in her trailer all day, and the sun's just about going down, and they go, we need Helena for a shot, so they go, get Helena in her trailer, knock on the trailer, she finally comes out, and turned out she was reading a newspaper and fell asleep. And fell asleep on the newspaper. So she answers the door with a newspaper glued to her face. And they're going, we need her out here now. And I go, she's got a newspaper glued to her face. It's like, well, come on, get it off. So we're trying to get the newspaper off. And we're like peeling this thing off and trying. And she's got black ink. And she's supposed to be the pretty ape. It's like, I just said, this isn't going to happen. I mean, there's no way in the short amount of time that we have that I can fix this. But it was like.
Wow.
Like, I'm sorry.
It's a nerdy guy that can't get laid that's in his bedroom listening to music.
Who doesn't do sports.
Doesn't do sports, has nothing better to do than to make monsters.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
And I'm covered in fake blood. And every time these moths came over, they would get stuck to me in the fake blood. And I hate moths.
He had spaghetti, and it turned out he'd somehow ate the chin off. I don't know if he actually ate it. And we were pulling spaghetti out of his neck.